Less than 10% of the movie. Did you hear we're on a space mission from Jesus? Yes, no? The following may be the only possible expansion for you, my creative destructors. If you're Spanish, this is Open Source Human 1.5. Welcome. The original Open Source Human. We asked the question where, when, what, how, and who should we pay for an economy that works, along with this Securate book, as I talked about yesterday. And questions yes or no at 1-503-245-5334. I wanted to divulge, as I said yesterday on the show, I would do just two more expansions. And that's just simply this. We have, if you call it an effect, at least at one time, not including what can happen if this Securate book increases the brain power on the planet safely, 15 potential space missions. And as I referenced before, well, I don't have, oh, what am I? It's dark. They took my lights from me. Changed the door locks. This is my lock. You see these? This is no joke. I tallied these up at one time. There's only 30. I kind of got off on one side or so, 31 or something. But I have 35 global business concerns in there somewhere, not even as important as this Securate book I keep talking about, that I want to finish at a potty event somewhere here in Oregon, where they religiously violate the constitution of their own state. So I call it the Oregon era, and I say one of those would be to return to Lochnar, to Mars. Not colonize it necessarily. There's less atmosphere, I learned tonight, though. So, very possible to get the vets there. If you haven't met them. The other expansion is actually it's a 2.5 kind of a thing. So we have basically 15 space missions. Some of it's kind of theoretical. At least one or two. Kind of conflate that. There's at least one kind of art. Three like art mission kind of things. But the really two expansions are just about 15 space missions, about 35 global concerns, and about at least 15 small things I'll pay you for later or something. Let's see. Yeah, it's been a bad day. I put that out. Had to file another civil small claims lawsuit. I guess this is my fifth in supposedly Oregon. Today, got the runaround for emergency management. Did find the finance office several with bad directions around to that final finance office. Bad directional advice from the emergency management people in this direction because of constitutional breach. And, I may be the only subscriber to this channel or some threat thereof, I know, unbeknownst to me because I cannot actually access who that subscriber is on the YouTube thing. I assume that this is for my own enjoyment because, as I've said before, it's about knowing more than knowing. It's about wanting to be great, knowing the privilege exists. It's constituent. Uh, and so a secular book, is more important than any of that I've accomplished, any um, personage I've been guilty of existing in, you know? Um, my second greatest epiphany, and it's my mortal greatest and impossibly ever superseding success. Let's get to how I kind of felt today. Maybe this alarm will go off and we talk about buttressing the day again. Oh, gosh, I didn't get to the funny part. Let me see if I can.
Well, have to be her.
Yeah, girls, they don't brown ever. Sure of it. They never use tools of war. They don't even know how to operate them. All right. Does that matter? Yeah, so let's reiterate some things. Like I said, they took my extension cord, so you can't see in the background here. I've got a candle lit, but you can't see that. They let me keep the candle. They let me keep the lighters essentially to light the candle. Two are kind of misplaced at the moment. Um, eh, yeah, so extension cord got taken. The annexation of this mentally ill environment of the Orgon era um, is in another quasi damaged state again. They breached the door, took the lock that I had graciously opened every time they kindly knocked and announced themselves. And they gave me one key instead of two, which I had two for the lock I bought with my own money. Is that an effect or a constituent value? Hashtag US dollar. I'm sure I won't smell you later, sir, ma'ams. Because I should be walking those fields tonight, and making sure that every square inch is sufficiently safe for people to do art in. All right, so let's see. It is the end of the Fab Raffalo hour, PM, Pacific, and here we are. We're going to snooze that. No, we're going to stop it. We're going to stop it. And we talk about this buttressing the day. This is like sort of a hope to not have to check so much. Even if you're high on attention drain, you probably think you can protect those you care about. And I would not do the same for your attention. Because you have electronics for that function none of the time. You can trust none of the time that will try to radicalize you. And this is what I call buttressing the day. To get to your immediate family, some steel frame audio or video signature, and hope they send you something back. And it's supposed to be a conversation. Just buttress the day with it. Buttress is like an architectural term. You take a walls on either side of a building, and you stabilize them with other kind of strut or post or what you got. So typically I just send a picture at this time, and that picture should be coming along relatively now. No, it doesn't matter if they're good or not. It doesn't matter how hurt you are. It doesn't matter how upset you are. It doesn't matter if you're picked on a boy or picked on a little girl. requiring the best or the worst tiers. All right, I just send it off so they know you're okay. They see what your mismath or your thoughts are. Hopefully, and if you keep doing it, even if they don't respond, you're saving them the need to get high on attention drains. Talk about a brain drain. Maybe you're young, maybe you're pre-millennial, post-millennial, I should say at this point. Preemies or something. These babies out there we're just not breeding enough of because people want to say they work full time when they work not at all. When I work more than full time, and I will continue to do that until everyone is happier working part time. So yeah, let's tell you about just the day. Do it at what I call the Fabra-Flaw hour. It's 9 minutes long between 7:34 and 7:43 a.m. where we are. You do it quiet enough. You do it quiet enough. They don't have to answer if it's a text. It's a text you send off. That can be done in each 7:34, 7:43 notion of 9 minutes each day. So it's been one. Pretty sure I picked up a lot of mismath. They were talking about the walk they took, being stored in the basement, which I've been in several times with quite easy request. I've requested that if anybody wanted me to leave, they don't even have to be specific. They just have to tell me with an honest notion. I mean, that's just all the other fellow mental patients and stuff. I have given the same option. Just if you want me to leave, I will reroute. But until then, I'm going to do everything I can for hometown generators. All right. The ore chested. And you know what I think about that? It's not my fault that mismath happens. I've never intended to mismath. Not once. I've been naive. I knew ignorance was life. I misdrugged myself a lot, mostly pot. But that was really the worst of it. I had some bad things go on. I'm not gonna lie about that. This is all things you can get to knowing more than knowing about. I guess I initiated my stupidity of pot use with at least one other person, possibly two. I just don't recall. Just smoked a bowl and had a miserable time and thought I could give them the joy I had the first time. Anyhow, and then there was some introductions to some wider drugs and things, but that was just once or twice. Yeah, I think he knew. We had been talking about it for a long time. I just happened to be stupid enough to get, and I think he knew that I was tricking him and just wanted me to suffer. That's what you gotta be careful. You really have to beware. The worst thing is when people start draining your attention when you're just trying to be a boy or a girl. And me, for that matter, I wouldn't even do that. But I know it's a variable. I know it won't quit. I know it's in medicine. Especially those who have no issue inflicting purpose, malice into drugging. That never happens. Anyhow, that's a good one. Yeah. Let's see. What else can I do? Just reviewing. I've asked people to check out the other live streams that are posted to the YouTube channel. I'd like to get a more concise thing, but they keep throwing this beta thing at me, and I balk because it's functioning just fine. I can pull it up and look at it, and I do it on the other devices and family has said they've seen these things, these videos. So it's a good thing. I'm trying to improve this outcome of Party. Uh, but again, if you don't know you're crazy, you're the problem. I know very well. I have meditative tapes. I have additional, thought on how to stabilize myself in a crisis. But of course, if anybody else was going through what I have been going through, I would drop the Yuccular Ore, which we review as every day on the show, 7:34 p.m. Potty Sitting. The notion of who would lead or profess to be in charge of the variables of Earth in the schizophrenic confederacy where people don't know they're crazy like I know I'm crazy. People who know, essentially, think they know all language and variables within all the borders. It's just the math. We all have different languages and values. But who would do that? Who would say they know? Unless they knew the right of a poison pill mentality. Business 101 people, the notion, and this isn't a radical concept. It's not my concept. It's the notion of liquidating assets when you have a business as best you can. Just essentially summon a white knight, summon an outside investor to take share in your organization. If that wasn't clear in other episodes, I mean these past live streams. Talk about white knights, summoning white knights with a poison pill, just liquidating assets, business 101. Why would you know anything about anything if you didn't have the ability to terminate your business, the world, essentially, fully, completely, painlessly, and totally, maybe trees and plants survive, and we can leave on that positive note. Because really, if I don't care, if the world knew my secular actions, these inescapable movements of just living, every word being supposedly a poison pill to someone, I would think Yuccular Ore is the answer at some point. It's supposed to be a lot funnier because we were going to have fun on the show, Open Source Human 2.0. And I was just going to say that at the end of every show, but you have to summon those outside investors, those people to buy stock in this, rising ship or whatever lot of other metals. Now, to secure a party event, you really have to get people to kind of dryly escape the sound daggering, sound blow stuff of the day. And essentially just be pre-World War I mentality, be not a lie about war being over, as I was suckered into the army at one time on. But we have the 5X. Let's see. Is that Yuccular Ore item number 1? All right. Like I said, I only take a little bit of it, That's how I felt today, but I reeled it back, got around, got rerouted several times. Was somehow still on that spiritual walking between a multiplicity of world security, if I could say that, security, maybe, to even live. If T. Barnum believed that when people from German ancestry trying to warn us about scientific facts that exist of attention drain, purposeful, and tried to abate it, but work got cut off. Things were switched, and people said, "Ooh, you know what? I drain the suckers better than anybody else, and no one's going to drain me because I know, and the world will never end, and I will live forever." And all this crap. When I say crap, is that enough to see violation? No, I've said worse. But again, if you know you're retarded, you aren't. Other thoughts, you know. It was a bad day. I could not get emergent quite well enough. Things have been moved once again. And I just want to finish my Securit book, which is just asking the question, where, when, what, how, and who should we pay for an economy that works to some force that knows more than knowing? And I really hope you can understand the myth of language continuing. Very specific stuff. But again, you know, I've done the expansions tonight, a little review, and like I've asked, you know, get the raw data. Make sure nobody is putting a time machine within your time machine or a computer within your computer. It's one of my meditations. That doesn't exist with a knowing, more than knowing. So I'm just kind of, you know, I'm just really trying to summon a regulatory environment that will deal with, you know, a secular Christian value. You know, it's just a variable Christianity. I know it's a bad word to some. You know, an FCC violation has been in itself this space mission from Jesus. But don't we travel to space all the time? Some religions think there is no Earth anymore. They think the attention drain will be the rapture, and that, you know, they're not crazy. But this potty event, it is not about really knowing more than knowing. I think whatever evil you know, tool into your instruments, that's fine. I really understand. As I said before, everyone wanted as a youth to be great. Everyone wanted to succeed or be big in some way, rule the world, and somehow something happened. Maybe the world wasn't an honest threat. Maybe somebody switched your raw data. And you get a little more some problems, right? Sure, regulations can keep drugs from kids in a legal condition like that. So I really understand some of the music out there, all genders and races, and how it is a attention stealing device, which in my system you can have right back. I'll even tune in occasionally. Not that I would like anyone to hear anything I actually say or do auditorily, ever, if necessary. Not that I would ever misdrug the world by enjoying a drug myself. Not that I don't believe borders exist for a reason, and that we should respect the honest threat of borders, uh, with some knowing more than knowing. Until everybody has a sense that they can return right back into whatever they thought was the great way of their life, and not return to the other book values, holy and otherwise, that are dissatisfying so many. Even the one I learned about my particular master from. And again, this is not a collapse into a singularity. This is not a rapture. And if I was some lie of evil under the flesh, wouldn't you already be raptured? According to the timeline, unless your holy books have been changed. And I have one in the car right now. I got off a couple guys. Gosh, I guess it was yesterday. When I tried to reference it, the website switched, and it was completely infidel. I couldn't get the message out that that Bible had. I know there's translations differences, but they should not have a lack of. The red words are pretty good there sometimes when they have them, but it's pretty consistently fidelis. But it's just so many of those I've tracked. So many of those. How do I say it? Mismaths inflicted. For attention drain, for some sense of progress that doesn't understand. We are all kind of our own borders. We cannot help but move. And most of the time, it's without pain, even though tools of war have, as I've said before, previous episodes, been blamed on you for use. That makes sense. So again, make sure whatever is being put out, and I know this isn't, perfect. I've seen these things shifting, but all I can do is hope that I will enjoy myself later, knowing, I did, I have to say, I'm still making motions in progress and doing the best I can to be functionally humorous, be prayerful, and very faithful student of God, and know more than I know, essentially. Yeah. So those case matters are out there again. It's really depending on a 9, expansion of federal mix and state and county interplay. I put out, requests for, writs and remand, and even had won 4 out of countless cases of mental health tribulation. Not quite a turbulation site, if you will, a party, a gray site, lit for some, dark for others. Hometown generating hometown generators, if you know what I mean. But again, it's a Yakuza War item 2. And I've decided in 2 days I'm going to drop Yakuza War item 3. You're supposed to be funny. Here it is. It moves without sin. May it plug up. the first potty. Maybe this first transparent potty. Maybe it's our potty. But you see what God did to us, man? He raised all boats. And people out there think they still want to get more people into the water to raise the boats higher. If I was a privilege, I probably would be doing the same. I know it. Yeah. That's basically it. I'm not going to go for the full what we do, double jackpot minutia last night. It's pretty close. Pretty close. I got it there. Pretty close. If all those times I started a minute late this show, worse, maybe 2 minutes at some points, and all the times I had to experiment with the connections to see if I could even get any of this message out. I look, it's not even a note, it's machine code. And some people think they can also dump that into the spiritual ocean to raise themselves above you. I'd probably do that today if I could. Hey, show be darned. So I've given out the number several times. 1-503-245-5334. I've given out my number to a lot of government agencies and departments and people. I've reported very little. And I may not report more. Because nobody likes reported. Nobody likes to have to reroute. And you certainly get no propulsion from dumping people into your machines forever. I didn't believe it. I never thought it would prove my God of men right. And he was a very light yoke. He never, I don't think he ever really referenced a hell or Sheol, tab, etc., or a lack of ascendance, or a loss of memory of ancestors or progeny to come. And if he did, probably inflicted mismath. He didn't want to die. You don't have to believe it. It's just the quality of life expansion he could not control because he didn't want to die. And we're not really guilty of that because he hit a lot of jokes that were very functional. We talked about one of those last night. There's quite a number of that spirit, extended out over the Facebook and Twitter connections. I did not tell you tonight is January 10th, 2019, and that I am a flawed good soul, doctrinaire. That is the name change I had to, as I said previously, separate myself from all familiar values in the March of 2017 here in the county in an Oregon era. That's spelled capital AF. The rest. Space, capital G, the rest. Capital S. Space, the rest. You know. Doctrinaire. Capital D. Rest. Capital A. And rest. We're getting to that jackpot minutia now. I am 37 years old. You can look at all these records. They're findable or foundable or discoverable on court record devices. I don't know what else to reiterate. Basically, make sure if you think there isn't enough knowing more than knowing in the world, basically, you potty. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time, 7:34 p.m. Potty Civic. Don't want to end the show with any mismath. I've never really meant to. I just wanted to demonstrate that as a Christian securate, breaking down separate from holy and deserving neither the former two, securate, sect meant to cut in the Latin and such. I just have to say this,